Jackie Justice. Please welcome Halle Berry.
Love you, Halle.
You know, I'm just like,
I just told her to get used to it because it's going to happen a lot when this movie screens. It's so special. In fact, I was backstage earlier and I was like, I shouldn't have come back here because I'll hear the end scene and I know I'll cry. But this is an audience of SAG-AFTRA actors. I always like to start by asking, how did you get your SAG card? What was the first job that brought that to you?
a television show called Living Dolls on ABC. Yeah, it was a big moment, as we all know. You get that, it's such a catch-22 trying to get that thing. So that was a really big moment.
That's pretty good. Most people say like background in McDonald's commercials. So the series is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Out of the gate.
Yeah.
So I want to start at the beginning with Bruised. How did this script find its way to you? And were you initially involved as an actor, or it became you just kept giving you jobs, or did you always intend on directing it?
No, I didn't always intend on directing it. I first got the script because my agent, I was moving agencies. I was sitting on a shelf at one agency, longing for more, wondering like why I wasn't doing the things that I really wanted to do. So I changed my agent, and the first thing, you know, right? I have to do that. I'm not working for us. I taught myself that. You know?
And to be clear, this is post-Oscar.
This is post-Oscar. Oh yeah, this is like 4 years ago. Yeah, this is way post-Oscar. And so I got the courage to make the change, and this was the very first script my new agents gave me.
Wow.
And yeah, and they said to me, you won't be sitting on a shelf here. I'm with WME, and they said, you will not be sitting on a shelf here. Tell us what you want to do. And I told them what I was dreaming of doing and the kind of parts I wanted to play. So they gave me the script. Now that sounds all great, but the problem was, when they gave me this script, another actor was attached to it. It was Blake Lively's script.
Wow.
It's in line. And I was like, really? Are you for real? You like gave me the script of my life, but someone else is gonna do it? Like really? And they said, well, we don't know if she's gonna do it or not. If she passes on it, then you can be next in line. So, but truthfully, how they handled it was important to me. Like if they did some backstabby stuff and they took it from her to give it to me, then I would have been like, okay, it's only a matter of time before that happens to me, right? But they didn't. They said, you have to just wait patiently. She's also a client. If she decides not to do it, we promise you'll be first in line. So I said to them, well, the problem with the script though also is it's written for a very young Irish Catholic white woman, like 20 to 25 years old. So I said, you know, I'd have to reimagine this anyway, or somebody would, because I can't play that. So while I
think you could.
But so while I was waiting for her to decide what she was going to do with it, I was busy reimagining it in my mind and what the story could be if it were for a middle-aged black woman, what the world would be like, what all the characters would be like, how everything would have to change. So by the time Blake passed, I was ready to go with my pitch. So I went straight to the producers and I said, here's my pitch, how this story can be different. And I said, I think it's more meaningful in today's time and day to have a middle-aged woman fighting for a last chance than a young woman fighting for another chance. And a black woman. A black woman. So to my surprise, they said, yes, let's do it.
I want to go back to this, you were on a shelf. It's sort of like Dirty Dancing, no one puts Babe in a corner. Who put Halle Berry on a shelf? That makes no sense to me.
I was on a shelf. It happens to us, you know, and I think what happens, and I say this to actors, because sometimes you can be at a place and you become friendly with the people there. And sometimes once they poach you and maybe you get to a place and everybody gets sort of lax because you're here, they're on to trying to get the next person. You know, and that's kind of what happened to me. They loved having me there, but nobody was really working hard on my behalf, finding projects that really inspired me, ignited me, that allowed me to stretch and grow. And I because I was friends with everybody, I sort of let that happen to myself for a while. And then I got over myself and I thought, you know what? They're not feeding my children. They're not paying my bills. They're not feeding my soul as an artist the way I need it. So I finally got the courage to say, I love you guys, but I gotta go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who can't relate to that? So you did sign on as an actor pretty quickly. How did the directing come about? Had you been looking to direct for a while?
I was thinking about it, but I thought I would do a short first. I had this idea to do a short about plastic surgery that I still probably want to do. So I was gearing up to kind of do that. And then once they told me they liked the way I reimagined the story, they thought, yes, we should do this. They then charged me with finding a director. So I went out and I knew that it had to be a female director. I wanted it to be very female heavy and come from a female point of view and have a female gaze. So I met with first-time directors, established directors, and there's not that many of us out there now, female directors, but I met with some. And what I realized was that because the story that I had in my mind hadn't been put to paper yet, it was just my reimagining that I would pitch that was in my mind, none of these directors really understood it like I understood it. Or they didn't really love the fight game, but they got the drama, but they didn't care about the fight. And they kept trying to say, does it have to be a fight movie? Like, I don't really know anything about fight movies. It has to be a fight movie. And the people that love the fight game thought, does it have to have all this drama in it and all these fractured characters? Can it just be a fight movie? So I finally realized one day that, you know, I know this sounds crazy. And I went to the producers. I'm like, I know this sounds like the craziest thing you're ever gonna hear, but I think I have to do it. I'm going to work harder than I've ever worked in my whole life to prepare a character. I need to know that it's in hands that understand the story. And so they said, to my surprise, they said yes. Well, coming from sitting on a shelf, I was very surprised.
Yeah.
I thought, you know, somebody actually has given me an opportunity to realize a dream and giving me a chance to actually create something. And that did surprise me, honestly.
It's so great when people believe in you,
Yeah.
you know, and it shouldn't be so rare, but it feels like it is.
Yeah. It does.
You can still do that short about plastic surgery, though.
I'm going to.
Oh, actually, I'm just gonna geek out for a second here. Your role in movie 43, as the woman who gets like extensive plastic surgery, is like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Sorry, very different movie. So you've worked with so many amazing directors, and maybe you've worked with some directors who, you know, weren't amazing. What kind of director did you want to be going in? What did you sort of learn from the good and maybe the not so good?
Well, I think the thing that I knew I had to be was actor friendly. Being an actor, I know how to speak to actors. I know what's important to us. I know how we like to be talked to, how we like to, you know, collaborate. And so I knew that I would be very open to the actors. I knew that I would give them freedom. I knew that I would establish a trust with them, because I've learned that when you trust your director, there's nothing, you know, for me, when I trust the director, there's nothing I won't do or nothing I won't try, because I know they have me, right? And so that, creating that relationship with them was very, very important, because I know a movie is only as good as the actors are, and that's just true, you know? The script is king, yes, you have to have a good script, but actors are queen. And without these performers bringing people to life, I don't care what kind of sets you're setting up or lights you're putting everywhere, if these performers aren't firing on all levels and you haven't created a safe space for them, you know, good luck. Good luck.
What was it like being on the other side of the casting table? I mean, I have to imagine that the actors you worked with, you must have had so much empathy because you've been on that side.
I have, and you know what? The auditioning process is brutal for everybody. I don't care how many movies you've done. It's a brutal, brutal process, and I don't really know how anybody gets a part from an audition. You know, it's almost unfair in many ways to audition and just be given a scene and think that that is going to somehow capture the imagination of the director. You know, and so I was very. With everyone that auditioned, I let them have the whole script. I wanted them to know exactly what they were doing, and I gave them all time to figure the character out. I didn't say, here's sides, and just read. I wanted everybody to, solidly show up doing something that they felt good about, and gave them an opportunity to do their best.
I want to specifically talk about some of, sorry, I'm stepping on your applause. Please, don't let me stop that.
And I always, whenever I've had to audition, I'll tell you the way I had to audition one time, and this shit was gnarly. And this happened like 4 years ago. I was auditioning for a part in Avatar.
Wow.
So I had to go to James Cameron's office all the way in Huntington Beach.
Wow.
And I couldn't take the script from his office. And this is just the way he does it because he's, super protective of his stories. And I get it, no slam against him. But he wouldn't let me take the script away. So I had to come there and work on it by myself. I couldn't have a scene mate. I couldn't work on it with anybody. I had to work on it by myself in a room and then leave the script there, or this, not even the script, the sides, because I didn't get the whole script, just got the sides. And I had to leave them there, go home, and come back. But when I auditioned, he wanted me to audition like full out, not be on paper, but like really perform. But I didn't, I don't rehearse like that. I need to be in my own safe space where I can do but I had to do it in his office all by myself. And it was gnarly. And I didn't get the job. I didn't get it. And I also want to say, when I didn't get it, I felt really bad about myself. I thought, how could I could have done good at that? I'm like, that's no way to have to do it. But then I realized, had I done that, I wouldn't have been available to do this. So it taught me, sometimes you work so hard and you want something, but there's a higher power saying, no, that's not for you. That's not for, you don't want to be blue for 2 movies. And you're going to go do Bruised and be bruised up for 1.
I'm just annoyed they made you drive down to Huntington Beach.
Yeah, every day. Wow. Spend all the time I wanted in a room by myself.
I actually want to talk about some of your cast members because it is such an amazing ensemble. I want to start with the young actor who plays Manny.
I worked with a really wonderful casting director, A.B. Kaufman, out of New York. And I went to her and I said to her, A.B., the 2 hardest characters are going to be my little son and Budokan. And I'm petrified. We have to start looking right now. Like I called her super early. And she said, no, relax. I have good success finding children. And Budokan, no, this is all doable. So she gave me such a sense of confidence. And sure enough, I did go through, maybe 50 boys, maybe. Wow. And then all of a sudden, Danny just appeared. He was like a revelation. And he was able to, what I loved about him is that he was able to listen. He was a good listener. And I said to him, listen to what I'm going to say in our audition. And I said, and let me, listen to what I'm going to say, have a thought about it, and then let me see that thought wash over your face. Like, put that in your mind. And he was able to do that in such a way that every time we got an emotion out of him or a feeling, or we understood what he was saying, even though he wasn't saying anything. He was just a gifted little kid.
That's also really good specific direction. A lot of times people say, look sad, or you feel sad,
right?
Yeah. And so, I don't know if you just were a natural director, if you pick things up on set, or you have a way with kids.
Had a way with him.
Yeah.
They just say that, but he had a way with himself. He just was this, the best child actors are, older than they look. So he looked really little, but he was like 9 years old. So he had maturity, and he could understand everything that I was asking of him.
Was he intimidated by you? Because you're Halle Berry. I don't know if he, I'm sure he'd seen some of your work.
Yeah, some of it. Not much.
Yeah.
Some of it. And maybe the first couple days he felt that way, but we quickly, I knew that it was my job as not only the director, but as the actor, to get to know him and spend time with him and play with him, and we did little activities together. So that Halle Berry thing, I dispelled pretty quickly.
And then for Budokan, you cast someone who doesn't have much film experience,
no,
I believe, but lots of stage experience.
Yes. Yes, she did. And, she was incredible, right? Yeah. like seamless and just so elegant and simple and chills. Yeah, that's how I would describe her. And if you're gonna play a Budokan, like, I knew that it had to be someone like that. That was kind of otherworldly, that just was striking, not even in her physicality, but there was an energy that she carried that you just couldn't stop looking at, right? And so I was so lucky to find her.
The actor, Sheila Tim,
Yes.
I know her as a West End performer. I've seen her in musicals.
Yes.
So like, this was just stunning, and I think it was her first film?
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
And she can sing so beautifully. I was trying to figure out how I can use her singing talent. She's so beautiful.
I don't blame you. I want to talk about your preparation for the role, and I don't just mean physically, but mentally and emotionally. And while you're doing all that, you're also prepping to direct your first movie. But let's start with the physical transformation, because it is stunning. Where did you even begin?
Well, I started training for the movie 3 years before I actually shot it, because I was working on a movie called John Wick. And that training, I thought that pushed me to my physical limits, right? But the same team that I trained for John Wick with went on with me to Bruised, and I knew that I was going to be doing Bruised while I was doing John Wick. So I started early, so I didn't feel rushed, and I probably spent about 2 years training to tend to be a martial artist. That just takes time, because there's so many disciplines at play. I had to learn judo, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, boxing, kickboxing, wrestling. Like, there's all these different things that I had to, disciplines. And that just took time. But I got to learn from some of the best in the world. I got to work with Valentina Shevchenko, the flyweight champion. She taught me and sparred with me. And, like, those are once-in-a-lifetime opportunities you get to have. So I was on a crash course.
What about the actual preparation for Jackie? Because she's someone who has suffered a lot of trauma. She's going through a lot. She's becoming a mother for the first time in 6 years. Where did you even begin with her character?
Well, the thing I loved about Jackie, and the reason I wanted to play her, is I think there's a little bit of Jackie in everybody. And I say that because all of us as human beings are fractured and broken in some ways. We are products of our childhood, and nobody escapes childhood without some damage or some bruises or some fracturedness. No family is perfect. So for me, it was just about tapping into the reality of my own life and the hardship that I felt, throughout my life, my career. And also, ironically, at the time I was making this movie, making the movie was so hard. I was fighting so hard on so many levels to raise the money. And one day I had the money, one day I didn't have the money. And dealing with my team that didn't always see this story the way I saw the story. And so I was fighting every day, making the movie. And I feel like that fight sort of came out in my performance. Because I was living it every day, just trying to get this movie across the finish line.
I feel like we see so few fight films from the female perspective. And I like that you will say it's a fight film, because a lot of people go, it's not really a fight movie. A fight movie can mean a lot of things. This movie is about a lot of things. But why was that important to you?
Well, it is a fight movie. Yeah, it's a big fight at the end, but all these characters are fighting. They're fighting for redemption. They're fighting for forgiveness. They're fighting to heal, to put the pieces back together, to be whole. So it's fighting in many different ways, in my opinion. And I think for women, we really do have to start writing, producing, directing, and telling our own stories, because for my whole career, my story of being a woman has been largely told through the eyes of a man. And it's just different. It's just really different. Not that it's been not a wonderful career and a wonderful journey, but we do have a different perspective and a different point of view. And I just think that's valuable to the art and to the craft. Our point of view is very valuable. It's valuable also.
I could tell right away that the script was written by a woman too.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the credits came up, I was like, I knew it.
Yes. Yes. So many women. There were so many women. I was determined to litter the whole production with as many women, qualified women, but as many women as I possibly could. So, sorry, guys.
I love you too.
I love you guys. And we had some really good men on it too.
Oh, yes. I mean, you're working with Stephen Kinley. Anderson.
Oh my God.
One of those goats.
Oh my gosh. I just love soaking up his juju.
So what did end up being the most challenging part about making the film? I'd love to know as a director, but also as an actor.
I think the actor, the training was really hard. I mean, that was for 2.5 years. The last year it was probably 6 days a week, 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours a day. So that was just physically demanding, and it was a real commitment that I had to make to one day, hopefully, making this movie. Also, I broke 2 ribs on the second day of shooting, which was, we shot the fight scene first because Valentina and I'd been training for 2 years, and we had been training for almost 3 months. All the choreo and getting ready, we did a real weight cut, we did all the things that you would do before a fight. So we needed to shoot that first, and it was a 5-day fight scene, and day 2 of the fight, she caught me good. Or I didn't block myself, that was the problem. And I broke 2 ribs, but I knew that I couldn't tell anybody, so that was a challenge. Because if I told somebody, I knew they would shut me down. I knew I would lose my financing. I'd probably lose Valentina, and I would never realize this dream that I had been working on for almost 2 years. So I had to just suck it up and take a lot of Advil and keep on going. So that was the challenge of the actor for me. That was the biggest one, I think. And the director challenge was, all of this was new for me, and because I had such a heavy actor role, and even while I was prepping in pre-production, I was still doing 6 hours of training and then going to the set and having meetings with my production designer, my DP, and going over costume and wardrobe and location scouting. So for the part that was hard there was that I couldn't just do that.
Yeah.
I had to bifurcate my time with all of this training that I had to do. So I felt like my experience as a director was kind of cut short. I didn't get to utilize all the days of pre-production like I think most directors get to do.
But it's such a dynamic looking movie, and the fights are so I think there was actually claw marks on my chair when I was done with it. I mean, it's really, I can't believe it's your first movie as a director. I guess what I'm asking is there anything you're not good at so that we can feel a little bit better about ourselves? Name one thing.
Seriously?
I can't play any instruments anymore. And I used to be able to play the flute, and I can't anymore. I cannot speak another language. It goes on and on. I can do all the things I can't do.
You just lose the ability to play the flute, or forget?
I don't know what happened. I used to play it in high school. I was in the marching band. I picked up the flute and I never do
Well, that's okay.
It's still on your resume, though.
it. It is on my resume. Because, as an actor, I'm going to put everything on there I once did, knew how to do it, but I can't do it anymore. Exactly. And you can post that ride, and I can do all that.
Well, luckily, I don't think you're going to have much time for flute playing. You have several other careers that are going very well. First I want to remind everyone that this movie comes out November 24th. Please spread the word. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations.
Thank you guys. Thank you.